All right, everybody. Good morning to you guys here. So we're going to give you guys a quick good morning and remind you, we're going to give you guys some review here. So good morning to you guys. Let's get that out there. Okay, some quick review. Let's remember if you guys can solve these equations here, right? You want to solve them from beginning algebra. Isn't this intermediate algebra, ladies and gentlemen? So you're going to have what? Some beginning algebra to do. So we're going to warm up today with some algebra review. We're going to use this information. You do some algebra review. Nice quick warm up. These are solving equations here. Let's see if you guys can remember. Okay, and some of these we've been doing for some time here as well. So anyway, let's kind of put some of this stuff together, give you guys some time. And let's see how this goes. Hold on here. Let's go do that here. Okay. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take a look at some of this stuff here. Let me go back, though, and share with you some information. What we're looking at here can be found even at a 115 beginning algebra. So I do have a 115 website, video lectures, well, with lectures and worksheets, video solutions. So I'm actually looking at solving quadratics, algebra lecture 1. And this is, of course, by factoring. We did review factoring in this course. We did go over those kind of things. And just kind of let you guys know, some of these things might look familiar, but this is an Algebra 1 topic, right? Beginning algebra. So, okay. So we're going to review a little bit of this. We already have. Does anybody know, what do you do here? Because we've actually done this before, right? Let me go back to here. So what do you guys recall? Let me get this out here. Do you guys remember? What do you guys use here? There's a tool. Well, here you're trying to solve for what? For x. Right? And there's a special rule that you have to use to do that from this point. So from this point, there's something you have to do. Do you guys remember? What was that rule called? I'm going to describe it to you. If you have the product of two things and it equals 0. First thing times the second thing, right? So if you have that, then what does this mean? It means the triangle is 0 or the what? Or the square is 0. Okay? This is the name of it. What was this called? Anybody remember? It has a formal name. I like to give the name because it kind of helps you remember it if you need it, right? What's the name of this? Do you guys remember? Because we've been using it. This is called the what? The 0 what? Product rule. And you're solving for x. This is the 0 product rule. You're solving for x. Okay, now what happens in this case? What do you guys think you get? Right? So you're going to say now with this is going to be what? X plus 5 equals 0. X minus 3 equals 0. So you're going to solve two linear equations here. So you're going to do your arithmetic on the left side and the right side for both of them, right? Using the 0 product rule. So what's 0 minus 5 here? What's this going to give you? What is x if it's 0 minus 5? Isn't that going to be what? Isn't that negative 5? And then 0 plus 3, what do you have here? Positive 3. Good. Now, what if you say, okay, Mr. Judge, this is that first equation we did. We've done some of these in the past, and then I got your resources, and then you go back over here. I'm going to remind you guys a little bit of something here. Let's go back to the resources for this here. Don't you guys have an SI coach? If I recall. Do you guys have an SI coach? Yeah, when is the office hours for the SI coach? Well, I got a announcement. I guess we have to go to 125. Yeah. Let's go to 125. Under the announcements, so we got an SI announcement. So we have our SI coach. I'll be hosting a different time for sessions only this week. Below you will find the days and times. So the in-person's from 11 to 3 on Monday, Tuesday 10 to 2, and each will be 3 hours per session. So anyway, this is the SI session this week only. Okay, and I'm assuming that we will have a announcement for the back to the old SI hours. So just remember, guys, you guys have these sessions as well, right? If you're having issues and if you need a review, all those kind of things. So if you don't use your resources, you're going to lose them. Okay, you don't use it, you're going to lose it. So here you go. So here's my solutions by the zero product rule from beginning algebra. Now, number 2 is done the same way. You say, how do I know? Because anytime you have a product of terms and it equals what? 0, what could you use? You could use the zero what? Product rule. Okay? So what does the zero product rule say? You got x minus 4 is 0. You got what? X plus 1 is 0. So you set both of those terms equal to what? 0. So I'm either going to color coordinate this so you guys can see it. Now what do? Right? You solve for x. Is that right? So you undo subtraction of 4. For both of these, 0 plus 4 gives you what? 4, so x is 4. And then you get 0 minus 1, x is negative 1 here. And there's your solutions. Okay, doing some warm up and some. We did some of these when we solved our what? Equations reducible, right? Quadratic and form. Quadratic and form. And then you say, what about this one? Well, we've done this before. Anybody know what we're talking about here? What do? You should have seen this before a lot. Right? 0 plus 4, what does that give you? 4, so x squared is 4. And x will be what? Plus or minus square root of 4. 4. What's the square root of 4? X is plus or minus 2. So that means x is positive 2. It means what? X is negative 2. 2 what? Solutions. Okay, what was this called? Do you guys remember the name? Square root what? Formula. Square root formula. Is that true? You guys remember these? And then, have you ever seen these before? The answer should be a big what? Yes. Right? These are quadratics, right? So remember, I showed you guys how to solve these quadratics in a lot of ways already. I'm going to use the, what is this called? Crisscross method? Do you guys remember? So what we're going to do is we're going to do what here? We're going to factor. So again, it's another review of the crisscross method. We've done that over and over again. What does the product have to be? Do you guys remember? We need two numbers whose product is 10 and whose sum is 7. What's that going to be? Is it 5 and 2? I don't know. What's 5 times 2? Is that 10? Then what's 5 plus 2? 7. So now you say we have what? X plus 5 times x plus 2 equals 0. This is the factoring portion. Remember those numbers always go right here? Do you guys remember that? Factoring? Okay, and then what do we use here? Anybody remember? What do you use to solve for x? I'm going to get out the colors. Even if you said, I don't remember us doing this, but we did. Didn't we just even do, yeah, the zero product rule. We just did it this morning as well, okay? So yes, it's the zero product rule. So by the zero product rule, okay, what does that give you? We get x plus 5 equals 0, and we get x plus 2 equals 0. Right? Isn't that the zero product rule we've been using? Okay, you guys see what I'm saying? And then you solve each one for x. X minus 5, here's going to be minus 2. So 0 minus 5 will be negative 5. 0 minus 2 is negative 2. So what does this give you then? X is negative 5 here, and then you get x is what? X is negative 2. There we go. So we've been solving these kind of equations, right? You guys understand? What about the next one? We're going to do the same way, right? We're going to do some what? Crisscross. We're going to factor that one. So the product has to be negative 3 again, and the sum is negative 2. Okay, so we got the product, sum. Again, what do we need? Because we're going to factor that trinomial. So what are the two numbers that we're going to use here? What are the two numbers that have to be? I don't know. Let's double check. Is it negative 3 and 1? Or is it negative 3 and positive 1? Right. Negative 3 times 1 will give you a negative 3. And negative 3 plus 1, what does that give you? Negative 2. Okay, so those are the numbers, right? We're using that crisscross method. So by the crisscross method, we have what? X minus 3, x plus 1 is 0. So what goes over here? We got negative 3, and we got what? Positive 1. All right, you guys okay with that by the crisscross method? And then what do you guys do? Zero product rule. Right? So you use the zero product rule. You got this and this. So, okay, you're going to add 3 to both sides here. When you get x's, what's 0 plus 3? Subtract 1, and we get x will be what? Negative 1. So we get positive 3. Negative 1. Here's your solutions, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? So this should be familiar because we've done it before, right? So, okay, a good review from what we've done. All right, now you might say, well, why are we doing this now? Because we're going to learn a new technique. You see, this is solving what we call what? Equations here, right? They say solve for x. So we have solving equations. You're going to now have solving what we call non-linear inequalities. All right. So non-linear inequalities. So in other words, you say, what's the meaning of this phrase? You go, non-linear. I might have to, I don't know what color. Pink, maybe? Non-linear? I'm going to say quadratic, higher order or rational. Right? So if they have that x squared minus 4 now is bigger than 0. Okay, because if they say an inequality, it's going to be one of these symbols. Either greater than, less than, greater than or equal, less than or equal. These are the inequality symbols that we use. So you're going to see this. This is new here for us. Okay? So this is kind of what we're looking at. You're going to see now what we call a nonlinear inequality, a quadratic inequality, or rational inequality. But we start with the quadratics. And we have to solve for x. In other words, we're looking for solutions here for this inequality. So you say step 1. What do you do for step 1? Well, here's the process. The process is known as, when you have this here, this process, this is new. We call this process sign analysis. So this is a new process for us, the sign analysis process. Okay? So I have to give you guys a recipe, but this process is based on what you've done before in your past. So for example, sign analysis, you got x squared minus 4 equals 0 here, okay? I'm going to say the first thing you do is solve the what? You guys notice what I just did? What did I do here? Here's my set of instructions. Solve the equality. So if you're going to solve the inequality, you have to first know how to solve the what? The equality. Right here. You have to set it equal to 0. Now you might say, oh, I know how to solve the equality. We did that for our warm-up. What were your solutions? Did you guys know? What'd you get for x? X is what? Positive 2. X is what? Negative 2. Did you guys get those solutions? See your notes. See warm-up. We did this. Okay, you guys okay with that? Now, here's what we're going to do here. That's step 1. Step 2, I'm going to say plot your solutions on the real number line. Okay? So you say, okay, where's the real number line? Here's my real number line, okay? Here's a picture. There's 0. Where's positive 2 at? Okay. Where's negative 2? Okay. And I'm going to put a 0 here, okay? Because I'm doing some notation here. This is where this equation equals 0. So it happens when x is positive 2. It happens when x is negative 2. All right, you guys remember that? Now, there's more to the story. Those solutions are important. They partition the real number line into 3 regions. So I want you guys to notice this. There's now a what? This is called a what? A partition. Partition the what? Real number line. And now you have how many regions? Region 1, which consists of numbers to the left of -2. You have, and let me draw an arrow so we can see that here. Numbers to the left of -2, those are in region 1. Numbers in the middle here, they're in region number 2. Okay? And now we need another color. I don't even know. Okay, we'll use the brown. And numbers to the right of +2, those are region 3. So we now have 3 regions, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, you guys okay with that? Sign analysis. So I'm going to do the following. I'm going to say this here. I'm going to say step number 3 now. Okay? Is you're going to pick a number in each region. This is called a test point. To test each region. Okay, so let me just say what step number 3 is. I'm going to copy everything you guys see here. And you're going to use this for your testing purpose. This is called a test point. I even color it purple. Test point. Okay? Oops, wrong button. Okay, now let's get a test point in each region. I need a test point here. Test point here. Test point here. You know, I need a number in region 1. What number is to the left of -2? Okay. -3 is a test point. Okay, you guys okay with that? I'm going to use that. Give me a number in region 2. Well, what's region 2? Numbers between -2 and +2 in green. If 0 is available, use 0. You're going to see why. I like 0. Yes. And give me a number in region 3. Anything bigger than 2. What number would that be? Okay, you could use 3. +3. There you go. Okay? So these purple numbers, what are they known as? You guys know what these are known as? These are called test points. So that's going to be an important detail. Now, you say, what am I going to test? Go back here. You're trying to find here, ladies and gentlemen. See this x squared minus 4? Right? We're trying to find the region where x squared minus 4 is what? Bigger than 0. Okay? So this is essentially what we're testing. Do you know what bigger than 0 actually means? I'm going to say, by the way, we have to let you guys know. Give you a couple of definitions. Any number A that is greater than 0 is called what kind of number? If you're bigger than 0. You know what we're saying? Any number to the right of 0 is positive. It's a positive number. So to be positive, you have to be bigger than 0. Another number. Any number A less than 0 is called, what do you think we call that? That's called what? Negative. So, you know, I'm going to maybe, I don't know, blue, pink, doesn't matter. Negative number, positive number. So if you said, what does that have to do with anything? Well, you see this? X squared minus 4? We're trying to find where that number is what? Positive. If it's greater than 0, that's positive. So how do we do that? You know what we say? Step 4. Test each region. How do you test each region? What do you think you got to do? You know what you do? You see these test points? Plug them in. The test points represent the region. So if you're going to use -3, let me put -3 in here. -3 squared minus 4. Do you guys know what that is? What's -3 squared? What's 9 minus 4? Is that 5? Is that number positive or is that negative? Okay, so what we're saying here is this. -3 represents region 1. So if I test it and I get a positive answer, what does that mean about region 1? That means region 1 is positive. That's what we do. We're going to do the same thing now for what? For region 2. What are we going to plug in here? What do we plug in? 0, so you get what? 0 squared minus 4, isn't that -4? So where's -4 at? It's region what? 2. We use the 0 test point. So that test point represents the region. So if you plug it in and you get a negative answer, region 2 is negative. So that's why I'm indicating negative there. What do you think region 3 is? How do we find the sign of region 3? How do you think we find that sign? Right? What's 3 squared? Test region 3. Use the 3. What's 9 minus 4? Is that 5? Is that 5 positive? So what this means is, since we got a positive answer, this means region 3 is positive. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, you're practically done. You're actually looking at the answer. And you might say, what do you mean we're looking at the answer? What was the original question? They want to know where x squared minus 4 is greater than what? 0. What are they really saying? Where is x squared minus 4? What's the definition? Positive. What would you guys say? Where is this x squared minus 4 positive? Region what? 1. And region what? 3. So it's positive. Region 1, where else? Region 3. How do you graph those solutions here? How do you graph them? Okay, I'm going to copy that. I'm going to say, here's your last step. You say, what's the last step? Step 5. Answer the question. Here we go. So here's the deal. You're going to have to shade region 1 and region 3. So I'm going to erase this. What do you guys know about region 2? It's negative. Sorry. Get rid of the test point. Get rid of the test point. Okay, get rid of this plus and plus. You guys really want to know what you're looking at here, by the way? You're looking at the answer. Okay, but they want to see it how? This is how they want to see the answer, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to want you to do the following. Locate where it's 0. You're shading the regions that are positive. Region 3, numbers bigger than 2. And then region 1, numbers smaller than what? -2. So if you see that, this is your answer, but you're not quite done. Okay, this is the graph of the solution here. We're going to use a parentheses. Does anybody remember why we use parentheses? Because you don't include what? The -2 or the +2. Why don't you include them? Because at those points, it equals 0. And 0 is not positive. 0 is neutral. So remember, 0 is neutral. It's not positive. It's not negative. What you guys are looking at here is the graph of the what? Of the solution here. Here's that graph. Let me go back here. Let's see. See if we can draw a square. So this is the graph, ladies and gentlemen, and very often they're going to say that phrase, solve and what? And graph, and that's the process here. So you have to solve the equality and create your regions and use test points for each region. And that's really a summary of it. Okay, you guys okay with that first example there? All right, once you see one, you have to see what? Another. So I'm going to look at this one, x squared minus 2x minus 3. So here's what I'm going to do here for you guys now. I'm going to give you guys another example based on something you already did. You're going to solve and graph, and you say, well, what's my process? Remember step 1? What was step 1? It's in your notes. You have to solve the what? The equality. Yep, this is the equality right here where it equals 0. And you already have those answers. What were those answers? X is what? Anybody remember? I don't know. It's in the notes. I'll say see notes. X is what here? -3. We did. This is warm-up question number 5. X is, +3, and X is -1. So +3 and -1. Okay. So we say, oh, X is +3 and X is -1. I'll put that in our notes to see warm-up. This is why we did the warm-up. Isn't that pretty nice? Okay, that's the first step. What's the second step? Draw your what? Your real number line. Okay? So you'll have what? -1, +3. This is where it's 0. Is that right? And this partitions the real number line into what? 1, 2, what? 3 regions. Okay, what is region 1? Go back and read region 1. What is this? These are numbers that are smaller. They're to the left of what? -1. Region 2, right in here, are numbers that are between -1 and what? +3. Okay? Region 3 are numbers that are bigger than what? +3. Okay, so this is step number 2 in your process. Okay, sign analysis. So what happens now in step 3? What are you going to use? You guys know? What do you guys use here? What's step number 3? If you're going to do this process, you're going to have to know step 3. What does step 3 say? What do you need? What are the test points? Good. We need test points for every region. Give me a number to the left, or a number in region 1. To the left, a -1. See, -2. Okay, there's a test point. Okay, give me a number in region 2. Love 0. Do you guys know why I love 0 so much? The computation is easier to work with a 0. Okay, give me a number in region 3 now. What number? 4. There we go. Test point there. Easy breezy lemon squeezy for this one. Okay. So now you might say, what are we testing anyway? Do you guys remember what we're testing? We're testing this. X squared minus 2x minus 3. Although, you know what I'm going to say? I'm going to copy this. Anybody remember in the warm-up? Do you have a factored version? What was the factored version? I prefer the factored version. Isn't that minus 3 and x plus 1? So let's put this in our notes. Use which version? The factor version. I'm going to share with you guys why. You don't have to, but I do. Do you guys know why? It'll make your computation what? Easier. That's the whole idea. I'm going to show you what I mean. What's the whole what's the name of this process? Sign what? Analysis. What do they mean by sign analysis? They want to know positive sign or what? Negative sign. Okay, you guys okay with that? That's what they want to know, positive or negative. They don't want to know like Capricorn or Gemini. They don't mean sign that way, right? So what do you guys do? How do you test each region? You're going to plug in what? The test points. Test region 1. What's your test point? -2. Okay, plug in -2. Do some arithmetic. -2 minus 3. -2 plus 1. So what's -2 minus 3? What's -2 plus 1? Is that -1? What's a negative times a negative? It's positive. You guys okay with that? What does it mean about region 1? Region 1 is what? Is positive. Okay? Because the test point of -2 gives you a positive answer. All right. So let's test region 2 now. How do you do that? You guys know? What do you do with that? You got to plug in now what? What's your test point? Plug in 0. What's 0 minus 3? Isn't that -3? And what's 0 plus 1? Is that 1? What's negative times a positive? So what do you guys know about region number 2? It's what? It's negative. Because -3 is negative. Is that right? Okay, you guys okay with that? Okay, what do you guys use now as a test point? 4 You got 4 minus 3 is 1. What's 4 plus 1? 5. What's 1 times 5? 5. What do you guys know about that region? That region's what? Positive, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, you guys okay with that? So this is called sign analysis, meaning positive sign, negative sign. Zero's neutral. It's not positive or negative. So what do you guys do with the last step now? What's the last step called? That's your what? Isn't that your answer step? All right, so now we give the answer. But how do we give an answer if we don't know the question? What's the question? Where is this quadratic? Oh, let's find the right color. Less than 0. What does less than 0 mean? Negative. Good. Which region or regions is negative? Region what? There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Region 2 is negative, but you're not done. You got to give the answer. You found the question. Where is it negative? Less than 0. Region 2. We have to describe on the real number 9, region 2. What is region 2, ladies and gentlemen? I'm going to put the answer right in here. Okay, just to share with you guys what I really mean by that. Clean it up. This is where it's negative. Okay? You're actually looking at the answer. You just have to shade it. You say, it's already shaded. Shaded green. Well, you got to shade it what? Like a solid black, blue, I don't know. So these are numbers that are between -1 and what? +3. Okay, what do you guys have to do? Is that a strict inequality? Less than? So what do? Parentheses here. So you're going to shade region 2 with parentheses. Now this is your final what? Answer. It's really region 2 with those parentheses. Okay, you guys okay with that one? What else did you guys have this morning? Did we have x squared minus 1 greater than or equal to 0? Is that right? Okay, step 1. What does step 1 say? Solve the what? Equality. We got x is +1, x is -1. This is by the what? This is by your warm-up. Okay, isn't that step 1? You found those solutions? So we got -1 before +1 on the real number line, right? This is where that is 0. We create now our 3 regions here. I'm going to have to move this down. Region 1, region 2, region 3. Okay, now I'm going to describe region 1 again so you guys understand. Any number to the left of -1, which will be smaller, is in region 1. Any number between what? -1 and +1 is in region 2. Now, any number bigger than 1 is in region 3. Okay, so these solutions define your real number line into 3 different regions. What's the next step again? What do we say? Use what again? Test points for every region. So I need a number in region 1, anything smaller than -1. What number do I use? What if you said, Mr. Judge, can I use -5? Can you do that? Is -5 in region 1? Yes. Doesn't have to be -2, does it? So what about a number between -1 and +1? Another test point. Give me a number bigger than 1. What are you going to use here? Is 4 okay? Yes. Could you use 2? Yes. Could you use 3? Yes. You're going to test each what? Region. Okay. So go back again. You say, well, what am I testing? You got to go back up here. What are you trying to find, ladies and gentlemen? You can't answer the question unless you know what's being asked, right? So they want to know where x squared minus 1 is greater than or equal to what? 0. This is the inequality sign. What does greater than 0 mean? Where it's positive. Is that right? Greater than 0? Positive? We had those definitions. So they want to know which regions are positive or equal to 0, right? There's no regions equal to 0. There's points where it equals 0. But they want to know which regions are greater, positive. What do I use? Sign what? Analysis. What do I do? Well, I test each region with a test point. So my first test point's -5. Is that right? So we're testing this. This is -5 squared minus 1. What is that? 25 minus 1 gives you 24. So region 1 is what? Is positive. That's region 1. What about region 2? What's the sign for region 2? Is region 2 positive or region 2 negative? Right, what do we use here for region 2? What represents region 2? 0. What's 0 squared? What's 0 minus 1? So what'd you guys find about region 2? It's negative. So what about region 3? What do you do with this region 3 now? Plug in what number? 4. You get 4 squared minus 1. Is that right? That's your test point, which will be what? 15. Is that number positive or is that number negative? Is 15 positive or negative? It's positive last time I checked. So what is this called again? Sign what? Analysis, is that right? Okay, you guys okay with that? Now, how do you answer the question again? How do we answer that? Anybody know? What's the question? Where is this what? Greater than 0, which means positive. Is that right? Greater than 0. Which regions are positive? Region 1. What else? Region 3. Is that right? Okay. So what do you think then that means? They want us to shade because they want us to graph the solution. So we're going to have to shade region 1. We have to shade region 3. Is that right? So this is how that looks. Anything to the right of 1. Anything to the left of what? -1. This is the regions that are what? Positive, because it's greater than 0. But does anybody want to know there's more to the story? What's the other portion of this? They also want to know what? Right? This was the greater than portion right here. What do you think this portion means here, down here? Equal, because that sign is what? This means greater than or equal to. This is the greater than portion, and this is the what? That's the meaning of the sign. They want to know, does it ever equal 0? Where? Right here. You guys see why we put the zeros? So what do you think that means? That means when you graph, include, put the square bracket. It means include the zeros. And ladies and gentlemen, there you are. There it is. Okay, you guys okay with this? There it is. So what's this process known as? Anybody know the name of the process? What's it called again? It's always helpful to know the name. What do we call this morning? This is called what? Well, that's the name of the inequalities, but this process is known as sign what? Analysis. What do they mean by that? Do they mean, are you a Capricorn? Are you a Gemini? What do they mean? By sign, they mean positive or what? Negative. So, all right. So maybe we should warm up a little because we're looking at the questions that we had here online. Where is that? Oh, we got to go to math. That's the wrong 125 here. I'm going to find it. It's under nonlinear inequalities. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's try this out here. So, we're going to warm up. Question 1, I'm going to say solve for x. Oh, solve and graph is what we're going to say. Number 1. X squared minus 4x is greater than -3. Number 2. We have x plus 5, All right. Just going to give you guys a couple of warm-up questions here. See what you can do so we could get started for some sign analysis. And let's see what you can do with these here. All right, looks like we got some time, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go over this here. Okay, so good morning to all you guys at home watching the soccer game. Just wanted to see if you guys can remember, what should you have on the right side over here? You guys know? That should be a 0. Okay, because you want to now add 3 to both sides. Notice what you get. Now, maybe you didn't know that, and if you didn't know that, that's okay. Okay? So now you have a quadratic here. And they want to know where that quadratic is greater than 0. So does anybody remember, what does that mean to be greater than 0? That means to be what? Positive. Is that right? Okay. My recommendation here is to do what? I'm going to change the color. I'm going to make it purple. Because at this point, you want to what? I'd say factor. Okay? Use that crisscross method, right? The product has to be positive 3, and the sum has to be what? Negative 4. I need 2 numbers multiplied together. That'll be greater than 0. Whose product is positive 3, but whose sum is negative 4. Do you guys know what the numbers have to be? What are the numbers? What do you know? 1 and negative what? Or negative 1 and negative 3? What's a negative times a negative? It's positive. What's a negative plus a negative? That's what? So the numbers are negative 1 and negative 3. That goes over here. That goes over here. We got the crisscross method. Ladies and gentlemen, there it is right there, okay? So you have factored here the quadratic. Now, I apologize because I'm going out of order here. I think the first step, remember, you have to solve by the first step. Solve the what? The equality. So I apologize for putting that inequality down. So remember, you solve the equality, and that's what we're really working on. You're going to be working on using the 0 product rule here. Okay? And so remember what the 0 product rule is going to be now. X minus 1 is 0. X minus 3 is 0. So you're going to have this here, and then you have over here. Okay, now you're going to do what? Add 1 to both sides. 0 plus 1 is 1. Add 3 to both sides. 0 plus 3 is what? 3. There you go. X is 1. X is 3. Here's your solutions here. So 1 goes here, 3 goes here. Isn't that step 2 in the process, right? Remember, this is where that quadratic equals 0. So I notate that as well. So this partitions my real number line into 3 regions. This is why you found those values here. X is 1, X is 3. Right? They make that product 0. So what comes next? You guys remember we have 3 regions. You got region 1. And I'm going to go back and erase this because it's not really associated, somewhat associated with the regions. Region 1. Trying to draw an arrow. Region 2. It's region 3. Okay, don't we need, what comes next? You guys remember what comes next? What do we call this? I use purple for it. Test points, good. You need a number It's called a test point. To the left of 1, if 0 is available, I'm going to use it. So we're going to use it's called a test point for every region. And then a number between 1 and 3, 2. I'm going to use 2. And then a number bigger than 3, I'm going to say 5. So all of these numbers that I chose and I have freedom to choose, they're called test points. Okay? They're going to be used to test the what? The regions. So go back and remember what I said. Go back and use the reason you want to factor, because the real question really is becoming, where is that product going to be positive? So I'm going to get this factored version here. I prefer the factored version always. Okay, we're going to have to plug in now the test points. We're trying to get signs because this is called sign analysis. So if I plug in the 0 here, right? 0 goes here. The arithmetic is 0 minus 1, 0 minus 3. This is going to become -1 times -3, which is what? +3. So region 1 is what? Is positive. There you go. Okay, so we tested region 1. It's positive. So now we're going to test region 2 by using the test point. The value is 2. Replace x with a 2. 2 minus 1, 2 minus 3. 2 minus 1 is 1. 2 minus 3 is -1. Region 2 is what? Negative. All right, now we test region 3. You say, how do we test region 3? Plug in what? Plug in the test point of 5. Remember, you're free to choose those test points as long as they're in the region. Okay, so 5 minus 1 is 4, and 5 minus 3 is 2. 4 times 2, I don't care about the answer. I just care about the sign. Because this is called sign what? Analysis. All right, remember what this really is now, right? This is where this product was greater than 0. So if I factored it, they want to know where the product is greater than 0. Where is this product greater than 0? Now, what does that mean to be greater than 0 again? You guys want to, this is the whole reason for doing all this work, right? So what does it mean to be greater than 0? Right, we talked about that yesterday. What did that mean? Positive. Good. So they want to know, really, this is what this whole thing means here. I'm going to highlight this. What regions are positive? Okay, do you guys want to? You guys know what regions are going to be positive here? Do you guys know? Regions what? 1. Regions 3. You say, how do I know? Because you're looking at the signs. Positive there. So now you go back and you say, well, what do I do next? What happens now with this? It's the answer step. Now we're ready for a nice graph, okay? So what I'm going to say here, look at this. This is where 1 is, it equals 0. And where 3 is, it equals 0. Where it's positive is region 3. Shade region 3. That arrow goes to the right forever. And then shade region 1. That arrow goes to the left forever. Okay, you guys okay with that? We're almost done. You know, at 1, where the product equals 0, is 0 positive or 0 negative or 0 neutral? Right? 0 is neutral. This is strictly a positive sign. That's not or equal to 0. So you must use, I erased that. You have to use a parentheses. That just means don't include the 1. Do not include the 3 because at those values, it equals 0. Okay, you guys okay with that? And there it is. This is what you're looking for. There you go. Okay, you guys okay with that one? Now, this situation number 2, so you guys know, this is, remember the first step is to solve the equality. Now, this is kind of nice for you guys here. Does anybody know? This is the equality, first step. Anybody know why this one's kind of nice? All right, why is this one kind of nice? You don't have to factor. And put that in. This is already factored. I'll say this is already what? Already factored. We don't have to factor. That's nice. Orange, green, I don't know, pink or something. Okay, so at this point, we simply use the zero product rule because this is a product now of 3 terms. Okay, so you now have a product of 3 terms now. So if you ever have 3 terms multiplied together and it equals 0, that means either the first term is 0 or the second term was 0 or the last term was 0. So here's my what? First term is 0. The second term is 0. The last term is 0. Subtract 5, and x is what here? Negative 5. Add 4, and what is x now here? X is positive 4. Now, this is already solved for 0. This means x is 0, x is negative 5, and x is positive 4 here. Okay, you guys okay with that? So this is kind of nice. It's already factored for you. Just so you guys know, it's 3 terms. And in that case, take a look at what happens now for sign analysis. So you draw your real number line, and now we have three values. We have negative 5, 0, and 4. This is where this product is 0 here. Region 1, region 2, region 3, region 4 now. Okay? So, again, region 1, any number to the left of negative 5 is a number in region 1. Any number between negative 5 and 0 is in region 2. Any number between 0 and 4 is region 3. And then any number bigger than 4 is region 4. Okay, this is how we use the solutions here on the real number line for sign analysis. Okay, you guys okay with that? You guys see the point? This is different. So I wanted to see if you guys can handle these differences, and if you weren't, that's okay. So what do you guys do with this now? Do you guys remember? We need test points in each region. So I need a test point in region 1, test point in region 2, region 3, region 4. So what are those values? Give me a number in region 1. What would you guys say? What's in region 1? Anything to the left of negative 5. Number? Negative 7? Okay. That's to the left. Okay, give me a number in region 2. -1? Okay. Give me a number in region 3. +1? Okay. And then a number in region 4, you might say 8. Okay, these are all what again? These are your test points. So at this point now, ladies and gentlemen, where do you guys go here, right? Go back here. You're going to use this. You're going to take the product here. So what happens now? Do you guys know? What do you plug in? Try -7 here. Right now, it's just some arithmetic. So you're going to test region 1, and you get -7 times -7 plus 5, -7 minus 4. So it's -7 times, looks like -2, -11. Okay. Now, remember what I am saying here. You don't care about the answer. This is called sign analysis. So for region 1, you know what I'm going to say region 1 is? What is region 1? Positive or negative? It is negative. Good. You say, why? Because a negative times a negative times a negative is a negative. That's all. I'm just keeping track of the signs. So if we test now region 2 now, right? What do you plug in? -1, -1, -1. We get -1 times, what's -1 plus 5? Do you guys know? Isn't that 4? And then -1 times -4, isn't that -5? Okay. You remember, we don't really care about the answer, we care about the sign. So a negative times a positive times a negative gives me a what? This gives me a nice what? This is a positive. I know it's positive 20, but again, we only care about the what? Sign of the region. All right, now region 3. Okay, we're going to test region 3 now. So what's the test point for region 3, right? We're going to plug in what number here? 1, 1, 1. This will be 1, 1 plus 5, 1 minus 4. 1 times 6 times -3. What's a positive times a negative? It's negative. Region 3 is negative. Good job. Okay. Last region is what? This number is what? 8. 8, 8, 8. We get 8. 13, 8 minus 4 is 4. Positive times a positive times a positive gives you a nice what? Positive. Here you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, remember what's going on here. These are less than or equal to 0. So this product has to be what? less than or equal to 0. So I'm going to go back over here again. We're going to have to ask you guys this question again. What does this mean? Okay, because we're going to have to solve and graph. You're looking at the answer, by the way. But you can't answer the question if you don't even know what the question is. So what is the meaning of less than or equal to 0? This is what we're saying. Right? You guys know what that means? That means it's less than 0 or what? Equal to 0. What does less than 0 mean? Yep. They simply want to know where it's what? Negative or where it equals 0, because 0 is neutral. It's not positive. It's not negative. So if I said, hey, what regions are negative? 1, 3. Those are negative. So now you might say, what do we do? Right? You're gonna have to sketch the graph. So you know you had -5 up to 0, up to 4. Okay. Region 1, we got to shade that. This is region 1. Okay. Region 3 is between 0 and 4. Shade that. What about this equal to 0 part? We got to include those numbers. You include those numbers by using what? Do you guys know? What do you use? Square bracket. Good. Got to use a square bracket. Okay. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. All right, you guys ready for some more? Good job. So that's kind of it's kind of new. I'll show you guys another thing that's new. X plus 5, x minus 2. This is another example. What do you guys notice about this example here? Did you guys notice anything? You have a numerator and you have a denominator. This is a fraction. This isn't even a product. This is a quotient. Quotient means to divide. So what they want to know, generally speaking, they want to know where that quotient is greater than 0. They want to know where the quotient is simply what? Positive, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they want to know. Where's the quotient positive? So here's your process again. When you have a quotient, okay, let's say step 1, like before, you're going to set the numerator equal to 0, and you set the denominator equal to 0, okay? So notice the numerator here is x plus 5, and the denominator here is what? X minus 2. You want to solve those equations. So you have x is negative 5. Add your 2. You have x is positive what? 2 here. So here's your equations here. And then you're going to use these facts. Okay, you guys want to know this here. This is important. If you ever have a fraction and it equals 0, if you have this, then that the numerator was 0. So you might say, is this why we're solving this numerator? Yep. And then you have this other situation. When is a fraction undefined? It's when that denominator was 0. Okay? So this is some important detail. And you say, why? Because when you go to step 2, the real number line, you guys remember this? When you go to the real number line, you're going to find those solutions here of -5, which will be to the left of +2 here. Okay? So take a look in blue. You found solutions for a reason for the numerator and the denominator. What is new, though, for you, this is the new part. Where is that denominator equal to 0 when x is 2 here? You guys see this here? What that means here is you're going to put a u here. Why do I put a u here, but you're going to put a 0 over here? Does anybody know? Why do I put a u for x is 2? Because that's where your denominator is what? Undefined, if x is 2. Region 1, region 2, region what? 3, ladies and gentlemen. So this is an important detail. This part is new here. When your denominator equals 0, your fraction's undefined because you can never divide by 0. Okay, I want you guys to know that. That's the new part. Here at -5, that's where the numerator is 0. That's fine. Your numerator could be 0, but the denominator can't. So this is the new part in your sign analysis procedure. Okay? All right, you guys okay with that? You can never divide by 0. So at this point here, any number to the left is in region 1. Region 2 is between -5 and 2. And then region 3 now is anything bigger than 2. So we have to get those test points now. Any number, what's to the left of -5? Do you guys know? Say -8? Okay. What would you use as a test point for region 2? Anything between -5 and 2. Good. Use the 0. What about, what's bigger than 2? 3? Okay. These are all your test points. Using these facts, this relationship here. All right. Okay, we're almost there. We just have to find where the product is positive because this is the question. Sorry, not the product. The quotient. It's a division question. It's a quotient. Okay, so what do you guys do here with this? Do you guys know? What do you put in? -8. -8, is that right? Goes in here and here. -8 plus 5 over -8 minus 2. What's -8 plus 5? -3. What's -8 minus 2? What's a negative over a negative? Positive. Region 1 is, in fact, what? Positive. Okay, so we tested region 1. It's positive. Let's test region number what? 2. 0 plus 5, 0 minus 2. So what is 0 plus 5? That's going to be a what? 0 minus 2. So it's a positive over a negative. What's this? Isn't that negative? Region 2 is what? Negative. Let's test the last region. What's your test point for the last one? Right? Positive 3. Okay. So 3 plus 5 is 8, and then 3 minus 2 is 1. I know a positive divided by a negative is a A positive divided by a positive is a? Isn't that a positive? So region 3 is positive. All right. So what was the question? Do you guys know? They want to know where the fraction's what? They want to know where the fraction is greater than 0. What does that mean? Where's the fraction what? Positive. What regions are positive? Region 1, region 3. So that's what we have to graph. Now, it's strictly positive, meaning they don't care where it equals 0. So at -5 and what? 2, remember, this is where it's 0 and this is where it's undefined. So we're going to have to shade region 1. We're graphing that. Region 3, this is where it's positive. This is why we did the sign analysis. This is why we got the signs. Now, do we use a parentheses or a bracket? Parentheses. Why? Because, anybody know why? Because this is a strict inequality. It's strictly greater than 0. They don't want to know where it equals 0. They want to know what's greater than 0. So this is going to be a parentheses here for both. Here's your answer. We don't have to write that down. There it is. Just want to see if you guys are awake here. I'm going to say here's a note here. What if they did this here? What if they said, hey, greater than or equal to 0? What's different? They want to know where it's greater than or equal to 0. So you're going to have to go back and look, right? What happens at -5? That's where the fraction equals what? 0. So you know what you do? You include it. Put the bracket around -5. Okay? Because this is where the fraction what? Includes 0. But what about 2 over here? What do you guys think around that 2? If it's undefined, do you put a bracket around the 2? Say no, you don't. Okay. So there it is. All right, you guys okay with that? Easy breezy lemon squeezy? Say no. Well, let's look at some of these here in the worksheet. All right, let's do something like this. How about they give you x minus 4 over x plus 6 less than or equal to 0. Okay, this is very similar. What are they really saying again? You got a fraction here, is that right? Quotient. But they want to know where it's what? Less than or equal to 0. What does less than 0 mean? Negative. They want to know where the fraction's negative or equal to 0. Okay? So remember what the first step is. Set your numerator equal to 0. Say, oh, x minus 4 is 0? Yes. Set your denominator equal to 0. X plus 6. Add 4. 0 plus 4 gives you what? 4, so x is 4. Subtract 6. 0 minus 6, this is x is negative what? 6. X is 4. X is negative 6. Okay, now what's the significance of these solutions here? Right, we're going to draw them on the real number line here, plot them. Negative 6 is to the left of 4 on the real number line, okay? Now, what do we want to put here for 4? Above the 4, what do I put? A 0 or an undefined? Okay, you're looking at the situation. Above the 4, what do I put? A 0 or an undefined? Good. And notice the denominator at negative 6. This is where we put the undefined. There's a U. Undefined means not defined. So you're going to have that situation if you have a fraction. It's going to be undefined somewhere. Set the denominator equal to 0 and solve for x. You find where it is. Right? So now you can describe region 1, which is anything to the left. It's negative 6. Describe negative 6 to positive 4, region 2. Anything bigger than 4. 3. All right, let's get some test points. A number to the left in region 1. I could use a negative 8. That's available. Test point between negative 6 and 4. Oh, 0 is available. Bigger than 4, I'm going to use 10. Just want to find those test points here. Okay. So we're going to test the fraction. The whole idea is to find where it's negative. It's less than 0 or equal to 0. That's the whole idea of sign analysis. We already know where it equals 0. It equals 0 at 4. So let me clear this out and let's start testing. Is that right? Plug in your test point. Negative 8 goes here. Negative 8 goes here. So negative 8 minus 4, okay, over negative 8 plus 6. Negative 8 minus 4, what's that? Is that negative 12? Negative 8 plus 6, is that negative 2? What's a negative divided by a negative? Is that positive? Region 1 is what? Positive. Okay. Let's test 0. Plug in your what? 0, 0. 0 minus 4, 0 plus 6. Isn't that negative 4? Isn't that 6? Negative over a positive gives you a nice what? Negative. Okay. We're now going to test region 3. Oops, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to put, because it's 10. Let's see what we get. We get now what? 6. 10 minus 4 is 6 over 16. What's this? Positive. There we go. Right? So remember, go back to the question. What are they asking? Where this whole thing is what? Where's your fraction less than 0, meaning negative, and equal to 0? Because that's less than or equal. Less than or equal sign. What regions are less than 0 or negative? Region 2. Right? Isn't that less than 0 negative? That's what they're asking here. Less than 0 means you're negative. So, okay. So we're going to shade region what? 2. So I'm getting a whole new real number line from -6 up to 4. I got to shade that middle region. Okay. Now, do I include 4? Yes. Do I exclude -6? Yes. Parentheses, bracket. Okay. There you guys go. What do you guys think? Easy breezy, lemon squeezy? Oh, let's give you guys a good one here. X over x squared minus 9 is greater than 0. What do you guys notice again? You have a what here? Isn't there a fraction? And this fraction is what? What does it mean for a fraction to be greater than 0? They want to know whether the fraction is positive. That's all. So with your procedure again, right? Numerator, what? Denominator. Set that numerator equal to 0. Set the denominator equal to 0. So the numerator is just x. That means you solved. So you're good. You go, okay, good. What do you guys know about that denominator? X plus 3, x minus 3. Is that what it is factored? Do you guys know? Or maybe you say, no, I don't want to factor that. I'm going to use the what? X squared is 9 plus or minus square root of 9. Sorry. Plus or minus 3. X is positive. X is negative. 2 solutions here. Okay. So we have the 3 solution situation again. X is 0 is a solution. X is -3. X is positive 3. We got to find, remember, we have to find, where do you put your undefined? Where's your fraction undefined? Do you guys know? You're looking at it. So it's undefined at -3 and positive 3, right? So you're going to put what? A u here, a u here. It's 0 at 0. So again, you have now what? 3 values give you 4 regions. Region 1, 2, 3, and what? 4. Uh. Uh. There we go. Forget what color we were using for. Oh, I think maybe pink. Pink stands out. Okay, you guys see the point? You guys see that? Okay, so we need some test points. Is that right? Give me a number to the left of -3. What are you guys going to use? Say -5. Okay. I'll try -1, +1, +5, okay? Got the test points here. So we're testing this fraction here. So what happens when I plug in -5? Do you guys know? I have what here? -5 over -5 squared minus 9. -5 over 25 minus 9. -5 over 16. What's this answer? Negative. Okay, let's plug in now what? Let's plug in -1. -1 over 1 minus 9, -1 over -8. What's a negative over a negative? It's a nice positive. Good. Let's plug in the positive number. We got 1 over 1 minus 9, 1 over a -8. What's a positive over a negative? That's going to be a what? Negative. Let's plug in 5. What do you guys think you're going to get for 5 if we plug that one in, right? 5 over, what's 25? Isn't that 5 over 16? Positive over a positive gives you a nice what? Positive here. So, ladies and gentlemen, you get all the signs here. Now, what's this? What do they want to know? Where's a fraction strictly greater than 0? Where's a fraction what? Positive. Okay. Regions what? 2. Region 4. Okay, final answer. We got -3 up to 0 up to +3. So we have to shade because we're looking for where it's strictly positive. Here, region 2, region what? 4. There you go. There it is. All right. What do you guys think?